think that we should just nip it in the bud, amputate, get you a peg leg, and get you on your way. I think that's
great. Prosthetics have come so far. Just chop it off. Welcome back, everybody, to the Book Report, where we go through all of the other novels that we've read, which do include some of the book club books. I'll be honest, we are including that in this list. Otherwise, Jessie would have only read 3 books this month instead of 4. Okay. So we have to.
I'm in school. All right. I'm in school. I'm reading other books. I'm reading about linear programming. Does that count?
No.
That's
no, it certainly doesn't. Gross.
It's terrible. I don't love it. It's the worst.
Meanwhile, I'm over here breaking my foot. I have my beautiful boot.
Das
my foot boot. Das Boot. Yeah. I also have the x-ray. If anybody's curious, this is what a broken foot looks like.
Put it a little closer. Put it a little closer. That edge.
So this little piece is supposed to be connected to this. And then this fracture is all the way through. So I have an appointment on Monday to talk to a surgeon. So here's hoping I'm not completely devoid of motion because I am supposed to go on a camping trip at the end of July.
I think that we should just nip it in the bud, amputate, get you a peg leg, and get you on your way. I think that's great.
Prosthetics have come so far. Just chop it off.
Yeah, like you could do the one that helps you run faster, or you could do like a sword.
Put a knife at the end of it.
You could do like a foam roller. So like in case your fiance is like having back pain, he can just like roll on the foam roller.
That is my prosthetic foot.
Yeah.
I love this idea. No, it's one of those like it's a Theragun at the bottom of my foot.
You should get a prosthetic.
So I'm just like
wait, I invent something.
He would love that. Are you kidding? He already so they gave me a cane because so I'm at Kaiser.
Sweat baby.
Let me start from the beginning because this story is hilarious. So I broke my foot at Gay Pride in San Francisco, as one does. And I went to a wedding that night, not realizing that my foot was broken. And the next day, both of my feet were hurting because I had been walking around at Gay Pride and then I went to a wedding. So I was like, you know what? I wore really bad shoes. That's on me, boo-boo. Like, my feet just hurt. Yeah. And I was also incredibly hungover the next day. So my whole body was in pain. And so then by Sunday night, I was like, okay, my left foot feels a lot better, but my right foot still really hurts. Like something weird must have happened. And maybe it was when I stepped on that rock. Who knows? And so then Monday morning, I wake up and I was like, oh, this is more than that. Something's wrong. So I make an appointment at urgent care and I go to urgent care and the doctor's doing his little foot test, right? He's pressing on my bones and he is like, well, nothing really feels that terribly broken. There's definitely some swelling, but it's probably just the tendon in your foot that got aggravated. And I was like, okay. He's like, but since you're here and we're Kaiser, I'm going to send you to go get an x-ray. And I was like, great. I love the thoroughness. Sure. So I walk my little broken ass down to the x-ray. I get the x-ray done. I come back. He walks in and without even looking at me, he goes, so your foot's broken. And he shows me the x-ray and he shows me a healthy foot. And he was like, so I'm going to refer you to orthopedics. They're going to call you to do a surgical consult. And then he said, and we're going to give you either crutches or a cane. What would you like? And I said, obviously I want the cane.
Swaggy.
You're given the option between crutches, which suck. They hurt your armpits and your arms are tired and it's just miserable. Or you get a cane. This is the funnier option. So obviously I went with the cane. And now Brandon likes to take it and use the hook part and massage himself. He gives himself back massages with my cane, while we're watching television. And then I have to get up to use the bathroom and I'm like, give me my cane back.
I need my cane, sir.
And then he has the nerve to be like, I'm using it.
Oh my God. We need to get him a cane. You guys can get matching.
Which is so funny. And matching top hats and do a little dance.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. New fun date activity.
So dumb. But yeah, so I have my surgical consult on Monday. Hopefully it comes back that I don't need surgery, but who knows? And I was supposed to go meet Lisa.
The day of all of this happening was the same day as Lisa Jewell's book signing meet and greet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we missed out on hanging with our girl.
So I'm so sorry to Lisa.
So embarrassing because she actually called us out. She was like,
she did call us out.
JB will be there. And
I know.
He was not. That was
and I was
so
not.
sad.
And we DM'd her the next day and was like, hey, so my foot might be broken. My feet are in so much pain. Driving from San Francisco to Napa, then back to San Francisco for said wedding, it's just not going to happen. Like, I just wasn't going to be able to do it. I was already nervous about that without having a broken foot. It was already a crazy day, and something had to give.
You can't do it.
No. So I DM'd her.
It's your driving foot.
It is my driving foot. But thankfully, it's the pinky toe. So when I do have to drive, which like I'm trying to not drive as much as possible, but when I do have to drive, I'm like driving with like the big toe side of my foot. So I'm not applying any pressure.
Poor thing.
It's super fun. So fun. But yeah, so I DM her and I'm like, hey, my foot's broken. And then she was basically, super understanding. It was like these things happen. She had actually broken the same part of her foot like 2 years before. So hopefully next year, Lisa, when you go on your book tour for your next book, hopefully we'll be able to make it out for that.
To the UK. Just get a coffee.
Yeah.
Lisa, let's get coffee. Let's talk shop.
Give us that interview, Lisa. Actually, we'll still interview you.
We've never asked, but Lisa.
We've asked on the videos, but she's not watching.
Yeah.
So.
Lisa.
But yeah.
We'll come to you.
So it's fun times. I guess I'll go first because I won this month.
Yeah.
By like
hardcore.
Double.
Yeah. But I won way more last month. So.
I don't know. I don't know if you did. But you also said that you like are in the middle of a bunch of books. So your July list is probably going to be really long.
I started so many books this month. I kept on buying books and then like starting them and then being like, ooh, I need to buy this one. Ooh, I need to buy this one. And so, yeah, we need to start doing like a what I bought list also, I think.
We were talking about that, doing a what we bought and the price we paid for the books.
Yeah, like how much money did I spend this month?
I don't need to keep track of that. I don't. All of the books behind me are unread. And then I have 2 bookcases in front of me that are also all of my unread books. So I don't need to know how much money I spent.
You are out of control.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
Some people.
So for the month of June, I read The Long Walk, Stephen King. We're still trying to give him a chance. Yesteryear, which was like the big book of like May and June, I would say. The Eye of the Bedlam Bride, which is Dungeon Crawler Carl book 6. The Only One Left, Riley Sager, which was our plot twist book for July. So that episode's coming out next week. It's already filmed and it's great. The book was insane. It's super short, but it was really good. I cried. Detective. It's super fun. And then I read This Inevitable Ruin, which is Dungeon Crawler Carl book 7, and The Girls in the Garden, which is another Lisa Jewell book, because we are trying to read more Lisa Jewell to make up for the fact that we skipped her.
Women, it's Shahrnush, Parsipur. I read Famesick by Lena Dunham. I read With a Vengeance by Riley Sager. And Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. And then I also read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. So it was a Riley Sager month. And it's also a Lisa Jewell month, but I just didn't finish the Lisa Jewell book that I'm reading.
You also didn't finish Death on the Nile.
Okay, fine. I won't count that one. I just thought I would lie like you. I always see Riley Sager books and they always look really good. And I actually started this book before I started The Only One Left. And I was not impressed. It definitely felt like one of those genre-y, just doing a classic take on a trope, like murder on a train. Like, I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't care for any of the characters. I felt like the like gotcha moments weren't like thrilling. Like I wasn't like, wow. I'm so glad I read this.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I read The Only One Left and I was like, I want to recommend this to everyone. Like, I rarely read a book and I think 5 stars. So rarely that I don't even like reading books because I'm like, this feels cruel. But I loved The Only One Left. And the more time I'm like away from the book, I'm like, I want another one like that.
I know.
Like, it was really
and
fun.
that to me was the weird part about With a Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I agree. I don't think it's his best work. I don't even think it's approaching his best work. I love The Only One Left. No. And we've talked about we're going through a bit of a Agatha Christie kick in our our off camera lives, and we've talked about this idea of the, like, how do I put it? No, it goes beyond trope, I feel like, but the, like, situational trope maybe is the best way to put it. That, like, everyone's locked on a train, everyone's on a boat, like these tried and true settings that authors feel they, like, have to put out their version of this. And even Riley Sager in an interview talked about with a Vengeance that he wanted to write a locked door mystery, and so this is what he wrote. And it felt, I don't know, uninspired might be a way I would put it. It felt very like he didn't know what the solution was until the end either. And the part that gets me with a Vengeance is there is a critical plot point, and we're just going to spoil it because there are so many other Riley Sager books in the world.
We spoiled, Gilead too.
There's a part in the book where one of the characters is shot and killed. And everyone, like, finds her body in the train, and she has a bullet hole in her head. And they're like, a bullet hole in her head. And everyone's like,
they look at
yep. They look at it. They touch it. It's a bullet hole. And the twist is that she's not dead. Instead, she applied lipstick to her forehead and somehow created a like special effects level bullet hole using lipstick on a moving train. And I'm like, this man has never seen makeup in his life.
He was a doctor, wasn't he?
There was a doctor on the train.
He fooled a doctor into thinking that she got shot in the head. It reminded me, like, I feel like I actually rolled my eyes in real life when I got to that part. And it reminded me of PETA from the Hunger Games. How, like, he grew up decorating cakes and, like, somehow he's able to, like, camouflage himself so well to, like, survive slaughter. No.
My God.
Not a good solution.
It was so, I at that point, I wasn't like super into the book, but I was enjoying my time reading it. And when I got to that point, I was like, Riley, what's happening? And it came out at a time where I want to say it was around like August of last year. And my dad and I have this thing where for like birthdays and holidays and whatever, we'll buy each other books, but we'll buy 2 copies. So my book for his birthday last year was With a Vengeance, Riley Sager. So I bought not 1, but 2 copies on release day of this book to send to my father. And he was like, yeah, I really didn't like it. And I was like, I didn't either, but read other Riley Sager books, please.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on Riley. I actually am.
I'm not either.
Definitely have other books on my list to read by Riley. I'm not going to be like, I didn't like this book, so I'm not going to read anything else because I've already read something of theirs that was so amazing that I'm like, nah, this was a one-off fluke thing.
Yeah.
You clearly don't know what lipstick looks like.
It's just weird. And not to like judge an entire book on one moment, but it took me so out of it.
Yeah.
That I was just so disappointed. It ruined it, unfortunately. Sorry,
Yeah.
Riley.
Sorry.
Okay, let's talk Yesteryear.
Oh my God. Okay, so I did not ever read this book in my life. So whatever comments I make on it are totally.
I'm just going to hide behind my cane because. So this was not, I would say, there have been very few debut novels in the past couple years that have had the level of hysteria that Yesteryear has had. It has enjoyed a intense hype. I mean, it was a book club pick for, I think it was the Reese Book Club. Before publication, the movie rights were sold to Anne Hathaway for her to play the lead. It is touching upon a part of American culture that is already so prominent and prevalent in our lives, this idea of social media and the tradwife movement, that it really like struck a nerve just purely based on the synopsis. And then the book came out. And to watch the internet just completely fold in on itself about this book has been so interesting.
You see because they're loving or hating it.
Yeah. So the conceit of the book is there is a woman who is a professional tradwife on the internet, and she is transported back to like the 1870s and has to live the realistic tradwife lifestyle that she purports to live online. I have critique about the way it was written. We talked about it a little bit a couple days ago, just because I was like trying to get my head around sort of how I was going to even approach this subject, because it's going to be controversial. And like, we love pissing off religious people on the internet. We've gotten really good at it. Hashtag.
Aren't even saying anything about the religion either. Like, that's what's so weird.
No. But, you know, hashtag Christ is king. And so I don't want to be super inflammatory, because I swear I am going to be actually defending tradwives a little bit here. The hypocrisy of the tradwife movement online is sort of baked into the premise of what the tradwife movement is. And I think that they realize that, right? Like, Ballerina Farms understands that she makes millions of dollars. It's part of
she's not
everything
she's not a tradwife.
She's not a tradwife. And I think that from the content that I've seen, and obviously I'm not super involved in the tradwife movement, it's not my vibe, but from what I've seen online, this idea of, you know, oh, these women are cosplaying and they don't understand what it actually means to be like a tradwife, that is predominantly a conversation that happens in the comment section based on other people's perception of the women that are part of this. Now, that's not to say that there aren't people on the internet who are like Handmaid's Tale level tradwife, that they are trying to use their clout to push like a religious doctrine. Obviously, those people exist. I'm not saying that they don't. But the creators, the like Nara, Ballerina Farms, the creators that this author, I feel, are trying to come after, I don't think that they are particularly nefarious in the way that they present themselves in how this author is choosing to depict them. Basically, the main character of this book is like a hypocritical bitch and is like scheming and conniving, and she married this man. It's implied that she married this man based on his like money, power, and clout, and also the fact that he was like a traditional Christian and she's a traditional Christian. And then it turns out that he's, you know, not a traditional Christian, and now she's trapped in this lifestyle where she just wants to be, but her husband is like a layabout and doesn't have a future. Sure. Okay.
That's like every woman ever. Sorry.
And that's the part that I feel like it's so antagonistic towards the main character. Her inner monologue, her inner dialogue is so vicious and brutal. I don't regularly spend a lot of my time around like hardcore religious people. They just don't really factor into my lifestyle. But I have spent a lot of time around religious people. I grew up going to like Catholic mass. Like I have known religious people to be very kind and accepting and tolerant, and maybe you just like don't talk about certain things, but they're still in general kind people. Obviously, there are bad eggs everywhere. Like, there are obviously going to be people that are going to go on Facebook and make stupid comments, and we read them, and hey, thank you for the engagement as always. But the generalizations with which she approaches the subject matter, I feel like was done with such little care. And quite frankly, it felt misogynistic the way that she was writing. And that's what really like took me aback, was this was supposed to be this like critical think piece on the culture of trad wives. And in reality, it was just a hit piece on women who choose to live a conservative life.
It's not even a conservative life. It's a hetero life. Like, she's
Yes.
married with kids. That's it.
Yes.
And she happened to marry a rich man. And honestly, what girl wouldn't mind having a rich husband?
And not only did she marry
Like,
a rich
it's
man,
like
but
even
she also
bad thing.
built her own business. Like they're making her look like this crazy person when in reality she has like a 7-figure business that she runs out of this farm. And sure, there's the part of the conversation is about like the exploitation of the children. Caro Claire Burke, I wish that she had gone further into the toxic social
Very
media
mixed
part
in.
of things, as opposed to just hammering this woman, because I think that is a much more interesting and nuanced conversation that can be had across the political spectrum. Whereas I feel like the dialogue that she was trying to have with her audience was more, again, like a hit piece. She was just trying to make conservative women look hypocritical. And I'm not here to say that they
I think
aren't.
it's hetero women. I don't even think it's conservative women at a certain point.
No, because she very much talks about how, like, you know, like the conservative versus the liberal woman is a huge plot point in this book. Like how the conservative women hate liberal women because they, are workaholics and they don't pay attention to their kids and they're never home. And at one point she's talking about how, she has all these kids and this farm, and meanwhile this woman that she went to college with is, staying up late at the office and isn't married and doesn't really have a plan for her like family future. Like, it's just really negative in a not fun way.
It
So
sounds
my hope,
like women.
I
Like,
don't
this
think she likes
just
women.
doesn't love women because, like,
No.
there are all types of women from all
Mm-hmm.
backgrounds, conservative or liberal, that are
Yeah.
working or not working or married or
Yeah.
not married. And to put someone in a box and say, yeah, your lifestyle, you actually are so bad for society that you deserve to be like tortured and suffer for like
Yeah.
doing like for like marrying someone and having kids and like starting a business. It's like, I do understand the greater critique of, you know, capitalism to some
Mm-hmm.
regard, but it seems from what you're saying that they just didn't land it. And like, it makes me feel bad for like women that are going to read that and internalize it and be like, well, I can't be, this kind of woman if I do this or that. It's like, you should just do whatever you want. If you want to like make sprinkles from scratch for your 3 kids and then make a little cake with your homemade sprinkles like Nara Smith, or if you want to like make really good protein, do it. Like, I think the real trad wives are not actually on social media. They're like just taking care of their husbands. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to see a
There's
real trad
also,
wife unless you're like out in the world.
for me, the point of like liberal gender equality isn't that every woman should be out like with a job and being the breadwinner. For me, the point of liberal gender equality is that every woman should have the choice to
Exactly.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's that to me, and like obviously I'm not a woman, so I'm putting my like cisgendered male voice into a conversation that it doesn't belong in. But liberalism for me is that everybody should have the choice to live their lives the way that they choose to live their lives. And whether you're a woman or you're, gay or you're a person of color, everyone should have the opportunity to live how they want to live, as long as the way that they live does not negatively impact the people around. And so for me, it feels as though the point the author was trying to make is that the women who are traditional trad wives are unfulfilled with the lives that they have. And so they're like crazy people, which can't possibly be true. Right. Like, and especially the women that she's going after, these incredibly successful business women. Like, say what you want about the like conservative women who are actually in modern day trapped in these marriages that are abusive and have 6 kids, and the husband doesn't help, and there's like physical abuse and emotional abuse and financial abuse. Though that's not the conversation that is happening in this book.
That's the real problem.
Conversation. Have that conversation. Don't go after people who are choosing to live their lives this way, because at the end of the day, this main character had the choice to do this. She made her choice, and that is the important part. The conversation is not, and had never been in the book, about women who do not have the choice to do this. It's all about making this person who has the choice look bad by then putting her in a situation in the 1870s where the woman didn't have the choice. But even then, in that time jump, the main character, whose name I cannot remember, and I frankly don't care to look up, Natalie, maybe, I don't know. Even then, when she goes back in time, she like makes the best of it.
She's like a good sport.
She's a good sport about it. And her relationship with her husband is better than it's ever been. She's like, she's working through the animosity that she has with her children, and they're closer than they've ever been. She obviously wants to get out of there because it's the 1870s and that sucks.
Right.
But like her personal relationships in that time skip were better than they were in the modern day.
So she's actually happier as a trad wife.
So if the point you're trying to make is that trad wives need to be freed, you've made it super poorly and are basically proving the opposite. Like, my hope is that when Anne Hathaway gets her fingers on this and is developing the movie, I hope that she makes some pretty significant changes. And I hope that the author, understanding that this is her debut work, does not pitch a fit about the changes that need to be made to the overall narrative. Because I do think it's an important conversation, and it's an important narrative, and it's an important perspective to talk about. But I do think it was handled really poorly. And we talked a little bit the other day, because Jessie and I just stay talking about books pretty much at least once a week. We're like having meetings talking about books. And the other day we were talking about it, how I wonder what state the book was in when it was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel as though the book was announced, it got extremely popular very quickly based on the announcement, and then they had to rush the book to get it out there. And I'd be curious to hear from the publisher what they think about the final product. Obviously, they're going to be like, it's great, it's perfect, we love it, everyone should go buy it. But 5 years from now, when we're looking back, and I do genuinely hope that the author writes more. I think that she has an interesting voice. I would like to hear from the publisher sort of 5 years from now, when they're willing to say their truth about how they feel about the book, because they can't right now because it's in this media storm. I'd be curious to hear, what was the editing process like? When, we're talking about like the tiers of editing, how much time did you spend at the top when you're digging through and you're trying to like find the contextual evidence and go through the developmental editing? I wonder how much of that was done. And also, was this book sensitivity read at all? Did they find women from both ends of the spectrum to read this book ahead of time to really understand, am I being sensitive towards people who make the choice to live this lifestyle versus the people who do not have the choice to live this lifestyle? So all that to say, we were talking with a friend about it the other day, and she was like, well, do you recommend me read it? If you're one of those people like us who are reading anywhere from 4 to 10 books a month, absolutely. I do think it's important to read it through the lens of like, be critical with what you're reading when you're reading it. Not just critical of what is being presented to you, but also with the context of, is this important? Is the way that this narrative is being portrayed important for the larger conversation as a whole? I think would be the way that I would view a reading of this book. Is it going to elevate the conversation that people are already having about tradwives on the internet? Or is she just punching down? Because it genuinely feels at points that she's just punching down. So sorry that this wasn't funny at all, but I was really like upset by this because I have people in my life who are conservative women who have at some point felt trapped values.
I think many of us know women like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And so to punch down in this way, I think was just irresponsible and frankly a little gross.
There's different things change with time, right? And so we talk about different waves of feminism, like third wave feminism and things like that. And frankly, I don't know what wave we're on. I feel like certain things that may have been trendy 6 years ago suddenly don't hold water because we're, past that conversation and we've gotten more information. We've gotten, a newer perspective. I think like we should always be trying to improve our perspective, not stick with something. And so while maybe this may have been something that helped people at one point, I don't know how helpful it is at this point. I think people get annoyed with the tradwife conversation online. Another book that I read this month, so it's Women Without Men. And I've always heard this book come up, but it was a hard read. So it's basically about women in an oppressed society where they're supposed to cover themselves and they can't walk alone. And, it's very much tradwife to the max, but they wouldn't call it that. That's just like culturally like what it is. That's what women do in this society. And there's very little repercussion for hurting a woman in this society or killing one if she dishonors you, right? So this is an older book. I think this was written in the 90s. I'm not sure.
Women Without Men, a novel of modern Iran. Yes.
So I think it was written in the 90s.
It was first published in 1973.
See, even later. Even later.
It is right around the Iranian Revolution.
Exactly. And so what you're at that point. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of funny to see us talking about Yesteryear and then I'm reading about that. And it's a hard read because a woman's killed right off the bat because she walked alone and it's very sad. And she doesn't die though. She like comes back to life and she gets like powers. And so she's able to like see things that are going to happen. And she like, there's like horrible things happen in this book. I'm not even going to say them because we will be like censored.
Completely demonetized. Yeah.
So like horrible things happen and she knows they're going to happen and she doesn't stop them. And then the perpetrators later die. And the person that the horrible thing happens to is like, why didn't you stop it if you knew it was, if it could have been like stopped? And she's like, well, I knew they would like suffer in the long run. And I like, it was so hard to read and she like becomes a tree. And so I think that this book has had staying power and it's stayed in the conversation for decades, which is why I read it. I think it's one of those books that's a really hard read, and I know why it was written.
Yeah.
But it was painful. And it's, I think, one of those things where you're seeing people have a reaction to what's happening in society, much like what you're seeing in Yesteryear. It's not an easy read, you're seeing violence perpetrated against women, and it's just not fun. But it's one of those things where you do kind of see books that are like snapshots of the like society at a specific time and how these viewpoints shift and how now we might not even write a book that has some of these scenarios happen because it's so shocking. Like what we talked about in a previous conversation, it's like, did we need to put this in there just like at all? Like,
well, we're going to talk about that next.
Yeah, it's really one of those things where it's like there's plot and then there's like, are you trying to psychically damage your readers? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Yeah.
We're keeping things light. We're keeping things fun. This is a comedy podcast where we talk about books. And next month we're going to read Atlas Shrugged and The Handmaid's Tale. Like, God, we need to just focus on fun books, because next up on our list is The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell.
Lisa,
you are one of my favorite authors. You tap into the airport thriller genre in a way that very few can. This book should be burned. Okay, we start with a 12-year-old discovering the sexually assaulted body of her older sister. That's the beginning of the novel. Then the first half, in classic airport thriller mode, the first half is the setup where we're meeting the characters, we're learning the dynamics, we're figuring out how everyone sort of relates to each other. And then the crime happens. And the last half is figuring out what happened and how the crime happened and who the perpetrator is, blah, 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 blah. But what we're also figuring out in the last half is, was this girl actually sexually assaulted? So we're having a conversation about,
I guess, trigger
warnings left, right, and center. And there'll be trigger warnings in the description of this video, because
yeah,
my God,
we got a trigger warning the crap.
We got a trigger warning this, because part of the conversation in the back half of the book is, was she assaulted based on the positioning of her clothing when she was found? Because she was found with her shirt pushed up and her shorts pulled down, which is very, to me, what was she wearing coded, which was just gross.
Right, yeah.
Also, she's found with fluid in her mouth. I think we can all ascertain what I mean by fluid in her mouth. And so then it becomes, is that how she was assaulted? So there's a whole conversation about whether or not this child, like which part of her was penetrated, conversations that don't need to be had. And then it turns out she wasn't assaulted. The fluid that was found in her mouth actually came from when this 13-year-old girl, how do I say this in a way that's not going to get you too pissed off at us?
Just don't say it.
Her and her boyfriend have an experience. Yeah. And that experience is detailed in the novel. Lisa, cut it off. Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I
think this really touches on what, like, ongoing conversations we've had about censorship. And, now we're talking, like we were saying, certain things shouldn't be censored, but I do think there is a line. And I don't know if we should be reading about children being murdered and assaulted. I don't find that to be like entertainment.
No.
I don't think that's entertaining. That doesn't give me a thrill. I personally don't love true crime. So, like, that doesn't ever give me a thrill. Like, I'll read, like our thriller books and stuff. But even the Stephen King, my critique of Stephen King, it's like, why is this dog man saying these creepy things to a kid? Like, there's certain things that we do not need to put into our stories because we shouldn't be entertained by that. I would argue that we should not find entertainment or a thrill in reading about something like that.
Yes, and I do want to take that a step further. I feel as though there are narratives where that content can be included if the point of the narrative is to make commentary about, like, the ills of the world.
Sure. Like,
right?
Speak was a book that a lot of younger kids read.
Yeah. I think that it is in literary fiction. I think that there is more of a place in it for it, because we are having a conversation about the realities of this situation. I think where it bothers me is when it's included in genre fiction and the care is not taken to have the wider conversation around whether or not what is occurring is necessary to the plot, or we're going to have this sort of revelation about the way that society is as a whole. And I feel in this example in particular with the girls in the garden, it drove the plot forward. Mm-hmm. But in the end, the narrative in the end, especially around what happened between the girl and her boyfriend, was like, kids will be kids, but they're still together, so it's fine. Like, I'm not giving up on you, Lisa. I swear I'm going to continue to read your books. I have another one, The Family Remains, that I'm going to read. But it was just,
Yeah.
It was just, ugh.
I do think this is another example. I don't know when that book came out of. So, like, there's the movie Kids. That talks about wider societal problems. I've never seen it. I know what happens in it. Kind of similar situation.
Yeah.
And I think 2015, something like having that conversation, I think now the public is not going to be so accepting of that as entertainment with all the things that are coming out about our political leaders. I think people are like, I don't want to read any more shit about this.
Yeah.
No.
And maybe if we had been talking about this 10 years ago, maybe you're right. Like the conversation probably would have been different. But I think into the modern day and age, especially in like an Epstein Island world, where it's in our news and in our faces all the time, the idea of reading a book about the sexual assault of a young girl is just not necessary. So read it, don't read it. If you do end up reading it or you have read it, please let us know in the comments because I need to talk about this with more people, but it's just crazy. I read Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. So this is a series written by Jessie Sutanto. And it's about, this like old Chinese woman who lives in San Francisco and she owns a tea shop. Her name's Vera Wong, right? The tea shop is called Vera Wang's World Famous Tea Shop. So people go in thinking that it's owned by Vera Wang, the dress designer.
So funny.
And she gets away with it because her name is close enough that it doesn't trigger like trademark law.
I love it.
Which is hilarious to me. And so someone dies. She uses her like grandmotherly ways to get in close with the people that are around the dead person. And she solves the murder in the end. And like everyone goes home happy and better for it. I gave the first book 4 stars. And that was Vera Wong's Guide to Murder, I think it was called. I gave the second book 3 stars. The only difference between the two, truly, of why I gave one 4 stars and one 3 stars is that the structure of the second book is almost identical to the structure of the first.
Oh, it's like reading Harry Potter. We're getting back on the Hogwarts train.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though I just watched so many of my friends get murdered, we're going to go back to Hogwarts. How fun. Like, which was just a bummer because I really enjoy the books and I do recommend them if you're looking for like a fun summer read. It is very fun. And also as a Bay Area native, it's kind of cool to like have a book be based in San Francisco because it just doesn't happen that often.
I know this neighborhood.
Yeah, like they talk about Soma and they talk about the Mission District, and I'm like, hey, I know where that is. It's how I feel like you LA people must feel when there's like a movie based in Malibu. I know that. I know that place. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's crazy. It makes absolutely no sense. How they get to the solution makes absolutely no sense. But sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and read something. And especially after reading some heavy bullshit this month, I was like, I just need like a palate cleanser. Because before that, I read We Burned So Bright, which is a queer novella about 2 men who are racing to fulfill a promise that they made to their son before the end of the world. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You have to read it. It's so fast. It's literally like I have a copy here. Hold on.
I wish that we were neighbors so I could just come steal your books.
Like it's absolutely tiny. It's again like 100. It's 160 something, 169 pages, and I read it in a day. It's certainly like a nice, it's a Wednesday evening after work and you just want to like settle down and read something beautiful for a few hours. Like I highly recommend. It's really, really good, but it's heavy, right? And so I just need, I think for the month of July, I am committing to reading books that make me happy because this past month has been brutal. I mean, to start with The Long Walk is insane. A book about child murder.
I think we both had like a weirdly heavy month. Like we were
weirdly
reading books
heavy.
for like downers, bro.
Yeah.
Like what is that? What was going on with us?
I don't know. And the new Goodreads challenges are out, and so I feel like that's going to help kind of find some newer stuff because I just kind of led myself to downer books for the most part because
the one I read is Famesick, which is Lena Dunham's The Tell-All, where she's like just having 1,000 surgeries, going through addictions, and like telling us all the gossip from behind the scenes of girls. Like another book about women where it's like.
I mean, I read a lot of like horror thriller, and horror thriller in essence is a downer. People die. But for whatever reason, the horror thriller that I chose this month also was like a personal downer. I mean, I also read 2 dungeon. I know. I read 2 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, and those are just a romp. I love that series. If you guys haven't started it, I don't know what you're waiting for. Just do it.
Are you audiobooking it?
No. So I have all of the physical books. I'm actually, as soon as I'm done reading the Gay Panic book for August, which is the Tuxedo Society, as soon as I'm done reading that, I'm probably going to take a break from my like reading homework and finish the Dungeon Crawler Carl. But I do also have the audiobook of the first book because I've been listening to it since I've gotten to the point where there are about 100 and something named characters in this series.
I know. I saw a video of them talking about how did they come up with more voices for the audiobooks? Because the narrator does all these crazy voices for the characters.
Yeah. Jeff Hayes. Shout out.
He's so
incredible. He's so good. So I am listening to the audiobook of book 1 just to sort of get a refresher because they're also starting to be really referential of the earlier books. I mean, there are only 2 books left, and he is already kind of starting to tie up loose ends because he wants, from what I can tell, he wants the last 2 books to be really focused on finishing the narrative, which I think is really smart. And he has so many loose ends open by the end of book 7 that I really think it's a smart move on his part to be like, okay, well, we're not worrying about this anymore. We're not like, it really feels like he reread the whole series and wrote down every single plot point and is like frantically trying to make sure that once we get to the end, there are no open questions, that it's a resolution.
I love that.
I'm very excited for the end of the series. Book 9 is supposed to come out next year, and then book 10, which is the final book, comes out in 2028. So once we get closer to that point, we're definitely going to start a Dungeon Crawler Carl series on the YouTube channel. So stick around for that. Very excited. We're going to do it probably in a little bit of a different format because the books are super long, where we're going to break it up into chunks, basically, because I'm not going to sit here and discuss a 900-page book in an hour. Like, it's just not possible.
So it gets like quite complex then, because at the beginning. I'm just at the beginning where it's like he's kind of like getting his powers. Like he just got his shiny, perfect little feet.
Yeah, it gets like unbelievably complicated by the end of it. Like there are paragraphs where within one paragraph, there'll be maybe 20 named characters, like detailing what they're up to at any given moment. It is.
I mean, it really does feel like you are watching someone play a video game or something. Like when they call it a literary RPG, I mean, that is literally what it is. Like their powers, their health. Like, it really does feel like you are watching that play out, which is fun. I've never really read a book like that before. And I'm not too much of a gamer either, but it is really fun to read. I'm like, because right now I'm doing the audiobook of it, and I've been doing so much Kindle buying, and I don't know. I'm like, kind of miss going to a bookstore. Do I do the hardcover of Carl?
I mean, it's going to be hard to find now because the paperback is out. The paperback of the first book is out, so it's going to be hard to find the hardcover.
I could go for paperback. I'm not too picky, honestly, with hardback or paperback. I'm like, do I just want like the book, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to see too once you have more books in the series. Like it's fun to see them on your shelf.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Because they're really pretty.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. I'm gonna read A Parade of Horribles, which is the newest one that came out, and I am like scared because it's so long.
Well, they're like what, 900?
The longest one right now is 880, which was the one I just finished.
Easy.
Parade of Horribles is like 794. Yeah, I mean, I read This Inevitable Ruin pretty fast. I read it in 7 days, which for an 800-page book is pretty fast.
It's just
considering everything else that I do. Like the fact that I was actually able to find time to finish that book is pretty remarkable. Is there anything I've read that we did not talk about? I mean, I guess we really didn't talk about The Long Walk, but I don't really feel like talking about The Long Walk. It was gross and weird.
Too exhausting. Like, we've already talked about all the horrible things that we've read. No more sad.
Stephen King stays talking very explicitly about the bodies of young women. Gross, Stephen. Gross.
I'm reading another book about women, but it's fun. It's the sequel to a movie called, or not movie, book.
To a movie.
A book called Bunny. And it's like,
oh yeah, Mona's Mona.
Yeah. So it's like these girls are in this literary group at their school, and they like eat these cupcakes, murder boys, turn them into, I can't remember, bunnies, piggies. I don't remember.
Probably.
It's been a while since I've read it. But I'm reading the sequel, and it starts out where the person that wrote the first book, Bunny, is like been captured by the girls, and they're like, Bunny, we love the book you wrote about us. Sorry the restraints are tight. Bunny, we love you.
It's like
is
Misery.
So good. It is so good.
Oh my God. Yeah, I remember when I first like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, when I first started like actively collecting books when Bunny came out.
So good.
And I remember not buying it at the time, even though my cousin, who's a huge book nerd, was like, you have to read Bunny. And I was like, there's so many other books I need to read. Like, I'm sorry, I can't buy everything. And then the sequel came out, and I was in Illinois for a family thing. And I went to the bookstore because we had a couple hours before we had to get to the airport, but we had to check out of the hotel. So we went to Barnes & Noble, as one does. And I remember asking, do you have the hardcover of Bunny? And she was like, honestly, no. Like, we have the paperback. And I was like, I can't be bothered with a paperback. And I regret not buying it when it first came out. I'm sure I can find the hardcover. Like abooks.com, the used book website, I use that a lot for especially books that came out long enough ago that the paperback is what's being sold, but didn't come out so long ago that all the hardcover copies online are just like trashed.
You should
like
see
anything that came out like 2 years ago. That is an excellent point. Speaking of bookshop.org, last month we sold an book through Bookshop. We had one sale, so a portion of that proceeds was going to be going towards the Fabulosa nonprofit. If any of the books we've talked about today or in previous episodes sound interesting and you want to check them out, follow the link in the bio below to our bookshop.org account. We have all of the books that we talk about on Plot Twist and Gay Panic and here on the Book Report. We have them in lists where you can purchase said book, and then a portion of the proceeds from those book sales go towards the independent bookstore themselves. This month, for the month of July, we are supporting Malibu Village Bookstore.
Impacted by the fires.
Impacted by the Palisade fires. And they have a GoFundMe that's currently active. So we're going to be giving a portion of the proceeds to that. And then the following month, if you're watching this in August, we are going to be going back to the Fabulosa Books nonprofit. And so anything that comes out of any sales in the month of August are going to be going towards that. So we are very excited to have that going. As I said, the one purchase we had last month, thank you to that person. I don't know who you are because it doesn't tell us, but we did sell a copy of The Silent Patient. So something's happening. That is the book report. We are going to be back next month. I'm going to be talking about the Tuxedo Society. So at least we know we have a comedy coming.
Gosh, you know what I should do? I should read another religious origin story book so we can keep that engagement coming. What should I read next? What haven't I covered? What creation
just
story?
Just read the book of Genesis.
Or are we just going to count that as a book?
I'd count. It's called the Book of Genesis. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Like, part of my monthly book review is like, I read Habakkuk. Let's talk about it.
It's just Bible study. God. So we can stay pissing off the religious right. I mean, leave us a comment. Let us know how much you hate us.
We're just talking about things.
I
We
know.
happened to chat GPT something.
It's funny too, because I feel like the people who say stuff to us online are like genuinely trying to get under our skin. I don't care. When you see me like goading you on the internet, it's not because I'm like upset by it, but genuinely the videos that you comment on perform better.
Yeah.
The analytics on those videos, it gets more views, guys.
Right.
If you really wanted to piss us off, don't say anything.
Well, I also think it's very interesting because a lot of the videos that do kind of get those comments are part of a bigger conversation that's quite funny. And I there was one person that was so upset, and I was like, watch the full episode. Like, you'll love it. I promise. If you're interested in this, we've got something for you. But
yeah, we had one young person who got in a bit of a tiff with us online, trying to say that there was nothing inappropriate in the Bible and that religion is only ever used for good. And that I must not abide.
yeah.
So
And we were so kind. Truly. We were so kind.
You were.
You were kind. You were.
I was kind eventually. The first couple comments that I left in response to him weren't necessarily kind because he said I was uneducated. And that's just not something
weird.
I'm going to
It was
happen.
just very obvious that it was like a younger person.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times when you see people leaving comments like that, where you can tell like they're on the younger side, I always kind of view it as an opportunity to like shine a little light. You know, like I think it's great to talk about this stuff. I think it's great to have a dialogue. And like they weren't so good at having a dialogue, but I think it's a learning experience. So I think people are online and, you know, they say these like wild things. I think if you can be not pissed off and you have the bandwidth to be reasonable on that given day, you have the opportunity to be like, you can actually just have conversations with people about stuff.
I do think what I did enjoy about it was the way that it started was a little aggressive, but it did start as like a conversation. It was definitely a very thorough essay that was left in the comments. And so I felt more emboldened to respond. There are some comments that are just like, you know, queers, like whatever.
And those, like, we don't do dialogues. We don't do dialogue.
No, I'm not engaging with you. But if you want to have a genuine conversation, like we'll have a genuine conversation. I'm not opposed to that. Mm-hmm. But I'm also not going to lose sleep over people. No fucking way. Leave us a comment. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. Obviously, we're both very passionate people. We'll catch you guys next month. Jessie's going to get a new light, and this isn't going to happen again. For those of you who haven't noticed, this has happened in every single fucking video we've made so far. I usually edit out the light turning off. I'm not editing it out this time. I also like the fun aquarium style setup you have going on now with the light off. It's just this like blue light with the plant in the background. So funny. All right. You are. God bless. Bye.
Bye.